NFT market is currently pretty much dead, mostly because of meme coins and because people shifted their interest somewhere else, though nevertheless, cool things are happening within the space, and one of them is Blur introducing loans to the platform. So there's a couple of things that Blur lending allows you to do, or Blend, how it's called right now, and I'm going to go through that in this video on a couple of examples as well. So this is the Blur announcement on Twitter. You can see that they advertised with borrowing up to 42 ETH to buy your first punk, or maybe you want to buy your new Azuki with just 2 ETH upfront, even though the floor price is something like 15 ETH. So this is all that's allowed through Blend, and Blend is starting on 3 collections, basically punks, my ladies, and Azukis. More are coming soon, so more collections will be added. So first of all, you can borrow, you can borrow and get liquidity on your NFTs. So you don't have to sell them. You can borrow against your punk and then buy a new NFT if you want to. So you don't have to sell it. This is great for liquidity in the market as well. So with a Blend, you can, NFT holders can borrow ETH against their NFTs without needing to sell. Another cool option with that is that you can do buy now, pay later. I'm going to show you on Blur in a moment, but basically it allows you to, if you want to buy a punk with, for example, 8 ETH upfront, or for example with Azuki with like 2 ETH upfront, you can do that pretty much right now, and this is pretty cool. And also, the cool stuff is that you can, after repaying, of course, you get the full of the ownership, but also once you buy with the loan, you can start listing that as well. So you don't have to, you can list after you even pay this to ETH for Azuki. You can try to list the whatever you paid for whatever the full price of Azuki was. If it was like 15 ETH you paid, and then you just paid 2 upfront, but you sold the Azuki for 17 ETH, then actually that 17 ETH is going into you. You can repay the loan. Well, it's repaid automatically, and then you have the whatever is on top of that. So you make additional 2 ETH. So basically, it's very similar to how you would leverage trade any kind of altcoins, and this really is similar to doing perps on NFTs to a certain extent. You basically leverage your position into taking, for example, on the floor Azuki or floor punks and stuff like that. So it's super interesting from the financial perspective. Of course, definitely not financial advice. Doing anything with leverage is risky, so you have to remember that. Of course, Blur is trying to incentivize its users, so you will have lending points. If you lending or borrowing, you will get additional points, and those, of course, count towards the season 2 Blur Airdrop. That is, of course, coming very soon. So if you're trying to play the game of farming the points for the next airdrop, this is also the way to do it. So that's why people are borrowing and lending ETH NFTs on Blur, on Blend, which is pretty cool. So you can start using Blend right now for those 3 collections. This is the way to go. So let's jump into Blur directly. This is what you can see. Azuki collection, I'm into that. So first of all, on Azuki, you can see that you have this loans here that you can go into, and basically it shows you some of the offers, and what you can do is you can create loan offer. If you have an Azuki, you could see the offers that we're offering to you, but here, if you create the offer, you will be able to see the max. You can set up the max borrow, APY, and the size for things to happen here if you want to give a loan to someone. On the other hand, if you want to buy Azuki for cheap, you can start with like 0.35. So someone is, you can basically take the floor Azuki and you can buy it for 0.35 ETH, so super cheap, and you have to pay 15 ETH later on, because that the floor is 15.5 basically. But the problem is here that the daily interest is very high, so it's like 3% daily interest, which is super high. However, if you were to like take, for example, 2 ETH, the one that's suggested in a post by Blur, you can see that the daily interest are basically 0%, and this is what you have to pay later. But still, you pay the full price. We paid this one for 48. The value is full price. If you manage to sell it for something higher, then you basically keep the premium to yourself, and this is very similar to how it works with normal perps on different altcoins. So super interesting. Again, check it out. You can see all the statistics. Of course, Blur is really good when it comes to different statistics. You can see how people are, what are the lending offers, and if you want to create your lending offer, for example, how competitive is that related to other offers? Because I can, for example, move here, right? You can see. So basically how much money you want to lend and what's the APY of lending here that you want to lend. So for example, you want to have 1% on the money that you will borrow to someone, and you can put the range that you want to give. So this is also a way to make money on the lending side if you want to just lend out ETH. Of course, everything here is for educational purposes, not a financial advice. I think it's really cool what Blur is doing. I really like also everything they do here, and the new features they come up with. Integrating lending and loaning is really great because this is really going and financializing NFTs and making them into altcoins where you have a lot of liquidity, price discovery is much faster, and you can do very cool stuff with your NFT collections. You're not stuck with PFPs. You can leverage them, buy new ones without selling if you want to keep them, and other cool stuff. So this is it for the Blur update. Of course, if you're farming crypto points for Blur, good luck, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I tend to cover a lot in crypto space, so subscribe and see you in the next video.